New tributes tonight for a legend of American musical theater. Songwriter and Tony Award winner Stephen Sondheim died yesterday at the age of 91. He wrote several well-known musicals, including Company, Follies, and Sweeney Todd, and Sondheim also wrote the lyrics to West Side Story. The composer died at his home in Connecticut. And here now to talk about his life and legacy is actress Joanna Gleason. Thank you so much for joining us on Prime. We're so sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Everybody's loss, and we're all feeling it pretty hard today.
So tell me about your friend.
My friend, he became my friend. At first, he was this imposing figure for whom I had to audition for Into the Woods, and he scared the life out of me. And then when we were doing the show and the show was growing and you could see that this was a man who was building the show on the people he cast, that kind of trust, it was the greatest experience of my life, and we became friends from that point on. I count myself very lucky.
And he was arguably the most revered and influential composer and lyricist of the 20th century, at least the second half of the 20th century. What drove him? How did he work?
I think for him, the fullest expression he had as a human being was writing and to create and make art. And he was a man who had no children, but all of us who've ever been in a Sondheim show, whether it was built on our bones or we got to do it somewhere down the line, we feel very much like we are a family. We very much feel like we are his family.
What was his lasting legacy? And I know there is so much, it's a difficult answer, but what do you think was the most prevalent lasting legacy and influence on the American musical?
First of all, the courage it took to be a voice that we hadn't heard before. The courage, and also it's about connection. The great legacy he leaves for actors and musicians is our job is not so much to show you what a character is feeling, but to show you what a character is thinking. And that made him a cut above a lot of songwriters and music and lyric writers in the musical theater, because thoughts move quicker than feelings, and it's exciting to play those characters. Actors want to play those characters. Singers want to sing those songs. It's just a kind of courage that he had, and good reviews and lousy reviews. He had them all. But at the end of the day, you have to tip your hat to him.
And what about you personally? What did he teach you, not only about your craft, but also about life and about achievement?
He had written a song, a duet for me and Chip Zion in Into the Woods, and I came to him and I said, "This song is too high. You wrote it for Chip's voice." And he said, "I wrote it for your voice," he said, "and if you have a problem with that, go see a shrink." And I went into the corner and I cried and I saw a shrink. And basically what it was saying was, be brave. Don't just be locked in how you see yourself. I've created a world, Steve. I have created these worlds and these people, and I'm entrusting you to populate those worlds. And it was really a turning point for me in terms of my trusting myself and expanding my own horizons.
Those are tough lessons sometimes, right? When someone gives you something harsh like that, but then later it comes back and it pays off.
It does pay off. And then, of course, he liked my cooking. So that was another thing, too, that I can hold very, very dear to me.
And it's such an interesting time right now. He made such a big impression on the theater world. He witnessed and made so much history. He lived through the pandemic. And then I understand he actually celebrated a final Thanksgiving a day before he passed.
Yes. I mean, you can't really get much more, I don't know, poignant and thematically correct, a man to whom we give so much thanks, having a Thanksgiving and surrounded, I'm sure, by people who loved him and whom he loved. And then it was curtain, final curtain.
And I was reading about his life. He had some major challenges he had to overcome. I read that his mother wrote him a letter before one of her surgeries, before heart surgery, and she said the only regret she had in life was giving birth to him. And those wounds, people who are wounded and go through pain like that, they show through in their work and their understanding of pain and emotion.
Yes, but he wrote some wonderful mothers, and he wrote extraordinary roles for women, and not necessarily just for young women. Think about the roles that were created that Angela Lansbury has played, and Imelda Staunton, and even I wasn't a young person when I played Into the Woods, and Patti LuPone. We get to play these roles that are revered in the musical theater. But that mother, I think that the most delicate hearts need the most protection. And so if at times he shrouded his wounded heart with bitterness or acerbity or anything in his writing, that was for his protection, because in his work, it all peeled away. Actually, as you know him too, it all peeled away. He was a tender man and not afraid to be emotional with you.
And definitely left his mark on the world. Joanna Gleason, thank you so much for sharing some memories of your friend and someone who taught you so much. We appreciate having you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Glad to be here and sorry to be here, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.